journey of any session or any auspicious thing by praying your respect to our teachers and God. Because God, teacher, as we see, is coming from God only. So Bhagavad Gita is a holy book. As you can see, I just mentioned three languages which are relevant in Finland. These are three languages which I'm just showing, but there are in many languages, as you might have seen our gift shop as well. It's a holy book which is followed millions of people around the world. It's not only Finland or India, but all over the world. So Bhagavad Gita is, if you translate a Sanskrit word in English, it is called Song of God. And why do we call it song? Because if you realize these are all verses, 700 verses or couplets in English or shloks. And what happens when you are talking shlok, everything is rhyming out here, which makes it even more balanced. And if you are coming from Indian background, you realize that there's something called Chand and Alankar. So even particular weightage notes the mathematical formulation. So you can imagine what sort of poem we are talking about. It is one of the longest poems. And it was spoken by Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu, please don't disturb here. Others are also getting disturbed. So it's given by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, who's his disciple. As we see, he starts as a friend, but towards when he starts understanding that things are getting beyond his control, so then he straight away admits that okay, you are my teacher, please take care of me. So he's one of the five Pandav brothers, whose story we find in Mahabharata. And Krishna himself mentioned that this is Dharma Yuddha. Now the wars which we see nowadays, they are not actually based on some righteousness. Just basically might is right, the right which they are following. But here we are doing Dharma Yuddha. And here Krishna is referring, it's not some ordinary person who's saying. And it was basically between Pandavas and Kauravas, their own cousins. So you could say it's a fratricidal war, like in which people from father's side, they are both people they are learning and fighting against each other. So why was it spoken? It's very good when we are preparing the entire year for the examination. But just when we are about to enter the examination hall, many of us, including me, we have our mode of weakness. We feel that, am I prepared? Am I ready? But here, Arjun knows that he's ready. But still, the minute he's saying that, oh, I'm going to fight against my own relatives, my own teachers, my own friends who are there, who are about to fight with me. So am I morally right? Okay, I'm fighting, and at the end of it, I know what are my gains. I'll be getting kingdom, I'll be getting this and that, what is rightfully mine and ours. But at what cost? So that cost is the thing which is making him hesitate. And when he starts panicking, that is the time Krishna asks Arjuna, what is your hesitation? Why are you hesitating? And then, of course, he starts giving various reasons why he should not fight. And of course, then Krishna at one point in time, he says, okay, you talk, you look very intelligent, but you talk very foolishly. So then Arjun comes to his senses. He says, okay, you please tell me, because now I'm just getting confused. He talks of morality and everything. Then, of course, we see if you go through Mahabharata, you realize that where morality was and what is the definition of morality, everything comes clearly. So this is one of the most important shloks which you see out here. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirvavati bharata abhitanam adharmasya tadaatmanam sujamyaham परित्राणाय साधूनाम मेषकाय च दुष्कृतम धर्म संस्थापनार्थम bhavani yuge yuge. So every time to pacify Arjun, Krishna is saying that every time there is rise of irreligion or unrightful things, that's the time I always come. It's not that it's happening for the first time. You are seeing it for the first time, or you remember for the first time, but I am seeing it every time, and so it's nothing new. And basically assuring him that what you are doing is the right thing. Now, when we talk about Mahabharata, Bharat is okay, one part, but Maha, when you say it becomes very, very big. So just to give you an idea, what sort of forces we are talking about. Like, we are talking about Akshohinis. I was watching once, like, what is Akshohini? Basically, when you are seeing an open horizon in front of you, and Aksh is basically eyes. So what you see at one glance from your eyes, in one side, like if it's a plain ground and what all you can see out there, that is size of one Akshauhini. So this type of forces were there. So Pandavas had only seven Akshauhinis, whereas Kauravas had 11, or almost double the forces. And when you are talking about army size, this is not, I'm just not here to give you the mathematical aspects of it, but you can just see, we are talking about commander in chief, and below him, like there are Maharathis, Atirathis, Maharathis who take care of 60,000 warriors, Atirathis who could take care of 10,000 warriors. And these are the various warriors who are fighting out there. If you realize on Pandava side, there is only one Maharathi, Arjuna, whereas in Kaurava side, they have Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and Ashwatthama. And if you're talking about Rathirathis also, you can see that the numbers are very large, but even that they are disproportionate in favor of Kauravas. But Pandavas had one advantage, that is Krishna, and they are on the side of the right. Of course, you are aware that Krishna is God, but in Bhagavad Gita, in one single book, you realize during these 700 verses, Krishna's name comes in 27 different forms, just to indicate, of course, depending on what his activities, how Arjuna is referring to him. So 27 times, if a person is referred by 27 times, the person has to be very popular, or he has done all those activities, or those activities are indicating something about him. So that is one of the reasons why he is also known as God. Because he is God, but here it is being highlighted as well. So you might be wondering, I'm getting into nomenclatures, but why am I doing all this? Because I see that many of us are preachers, some are budding preachers, and some are aspiring preachers. So when we go out, a person does not discriminate between any one of us. All of us are Vaishnavas for them, and they expect us to know about it. So that's why I just broke down further. So out of the 700 verses, there's only one verse which is sung by or said by Dhritarashtra, and that is also a question that now you are seeing what is happening in battlefield. Is the war about to begin? You can see that only one verse, that is also, is the war about to begin. So he's so malicious, or he's not only physically blind, but religiously also blind, that morally also blind, that he's not seeing that basically he's taken over something which is rightfully others. And even if you have been enjoying, but now when the right time comes, you are refusing to give. And when they are willing to compromise, not asking for what you don't want to give, but at least something nominal, so even that they are refusing. So there's only one verse which is asking. So that automatically indicates why it is called dharma yuddha. And Sanjay is not only his charioteer, but also the person who's giving him the running commentary of what is going to happen. He has been blessed by his guru Vedvyas, so that he has that view, divya drishti, or something by which he can see beyond what is happening right now, beyond the horizons, and he can also see what is happening and mention as if it's happening right in front of him. Now, whether it is Krishna speaking to Arjun, or Arjun fighting, but anybody and everybody, whatever is happening, depending on what's needed, he can see everything. And since it is Bhagavad Gita, so of course Lord Krishna is speaking 574 verses, and starting right from the, okay, now let me take you to the person who want to fight with you. And Arjun is asking 84 because it's not a monologue, it's a dialogue. It's a conversation between Arjun and Krishna. So Arjun has asked in 84 verses, giving his own version and his own questions, which Lord Krishna has explained in 574 verses. And it's also a memorial because if you realize there are various versions of Bhagavad Gita, but in all these Bhagavad Gita verses remain the same. So why we talk about this Bhagavad Gita as it is? Because you realize that he has taken commentary of four different very learned acharyas. Sri Bhardev Vidyabhushan, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Sri Sridhar Swami, and Sri Ramanujacharya. So all of us who are prepared for any important exam, we are not talking about school level, but where we are talking about competitive level exams, or we are talking about master's level exams. So we realize that for our examination, we have to prepare from various sources. Because one source may not be adequate for me either to understand or to explain. But if I'm taking knowledge from various sources, then my knowledge becomes more reformed, more rounded. So same way Srila Prabhupada did not ever thought, of course he was very learned, as we can see he had produced immense amount of Vedic literature. But then too, before giving it to anybody else, he would do thorough research and what he understood, what other valued acharyas have to say, he took all their opinions and on the basis of that he has given. Basically, it is if any one of us has been to so many drawing classes or arts classes, you realize that, let's say, there's a speaker mic in front of me, and everybody is in this class. So the teacher would say, okay, sitting where you are, what angle you see of this mic, you draw that aspect. So everybody has different view, and they will give us different interpretation of the same thing. So different acharyas have different understanding, different realizations. On based on that, what they give, that condensed knowledge or that concentrate knowledge Sri Prabhupada has taken based on his own realizations. He also had his own spiritual master, his father was also a devotee, and he had blessings of many other acharyas. So besides all his education, he has still taken commentary from this. So on the basis of that, he has taken the concentrate of the Vedic literature and that he has given Bhagavad Gita on a platter to us. So that we don't have to go through that because how many of us are qualified to learn Sanskrit and learn all sanskars and everything? He did all that for us to give us on a silver platter. That now you have to just read it and go ahead. It's ready-made material. So, what is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita actually? What he has written for us? So, Lord Krishna has spoke Bhagavad Gita basically to how to be happy all the time. Now, when we talk about happiness, there are also three types. You can say sattvic, which looks like poison first. Okay, I say, okay, no, you are not supposed to do this. Like, if you just see, we see some children out in the room, if you say, you tell them, okay, no, sit peacefully. No, you do this, you do this. So you will feel what? Is this my parent? Sounds like enemy or like what's you're saying sounds very poisonous to me. But when they start following, they'll realize that they are actually becoming more disciplined and more happy in their own lives. So this is sattvic type of happiness. Then Rajasic is the like, I want something, I just want to eat it. I want to have lots of sweet, and then I realize no, I have to go to dentist. So it sounded something wonderful, but when I ate all that and it started reacting with my body and my body started deteriorating, and I have to go to some doctors. So that is Rajasic type of happiness. It sounds tasty and wonderful, but it results in sadness. And then tamasic or slothful happiness. It is the lowest form of happiness. Like, oh, I'm just being lazy. Okay, you are supposed to do this. You have to clean the yard. I will do something, and then I also stumble on it. I'm so lazy, or I like to sleep and also. It gives some pleasure, but this is the worst form of happiness, and it causes maximum sorrows. So that's why this is tamasic, or the mode of darkness happiness. So basically, what is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita? As you can see, it was, you see there's a picture of soul or a person who's sitting in a chariot, whereas the intelligence is a charioteer and mind are the reins by which you control the horses, and there are five horses in different color, which indicate our five senses. So if you realize that soul is looking very scared because it doesn't know whether it can trust intelligence, which has got wild horses like five senses, and on the basis of that, they don't know. Soul does not know where is my chariot leading me, whether it's right or wrong. It doesn't know. That's why it's panicking. Now I will say, okay, sir, there's something called ego also, but that's byproduct of mind and intelligence only based on the senses. So if you look at it, the problem is faced by the soul. So Bhagavad Gita was spoken to guide the conditioned soul how to progress in spiritual advancement and to develop this Krishna consciousness or God consciousness. And then he explains this in three ways. Like depending on what is your situation, at what level you are, you can talk about this. And then these paths with three ways which he talks, they are called yoga, basically connecting to the absolute or God. That's called yoga. And this is the word yoga in use in Bhagavad Gita. Now, some of us, when you talk about yoga, you talk about like right now also say sitting in sukhasana. So you say, okay, some crazy body positions are yoga. They are just meant to focus mind only in any case. The purpose of physical exercise is to keep mentally fit. So these three paths which Shri Krishna gives are Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. And depending on what sort of situation we are in, we'll be there. Like you'll find that when you come to temple, you'll find that there are some devotees who are specializing and offering to the deities. There are some who are trying to clean the temple, and there are some who are trying to clean the yard. And we should not be discriminating that who's superior or inferior because they are following what is best for them, and everything is guided by Krishna only. So nobody is superior or inferior, but depending on where they are actually progressing towards the ultimate destination. So Bhagavad Gita is basically divided into three parts. So 18 chapters. So first take six aspects. Talk about karma yoga or path of action. Okay, I'm very energetic. I want to do something. I want to do something. And if you ask me to just sit and pray and chant and maybe do some deity worship, I may find it very uh, restless. I want something to expand my energies and all things. So basically, that expansion for that is called we have got this karma yoga, which talks about you do action, but don't get emotionally attached with the result. Okay, you have to clean this temple floor after eating because somebody put material or something. You say no. I think there's some stains and all. I should not be getting attached to that. Okay, I'm told that somebody eaten this floor is dirty. I need to clean it. That's it. I should not be getting okay. How is it looking? Should I take some picture? Did somebody saw me doing cleaning or not? We are not supposed to look at that. Selfless action is like okay, I'm supposed to do. I just do it and walk away without getting emotionally attached because that should not be the end of my focus. Why am I cleaning this floor? Because Krishna needs to be around cleanliness. That makes him happy. That's my objective. That's how I do. So when I'm doing this, I'm doing it seriously, not okay, I'm just focusing on phone, okay, yeah, I'm talking to you, okay, fine, I'm just cleaning, okay, yeah, what was that? So I just leave halfway. No. I'm focusing on that activity only and just move ahead. This will help slowly to transcend this concept of ego. I'm thinking things which are beyond me, I, me, myself. And when we are totally action oriented, so then Krishna suggests that you take this path. This is the path which will slowly lead you to bhakti. So first six chapter talk about this. Here you see a grahastha. He is having his own wife and his own cows and house and all. He's maintaining all this. But since he's doing Krishna consciousness, he is being blessed by Krishna himself and demigods. Then other comes Jnana. These are the people now they are much more mature in their knowledge and they feel that okay, just cleaning everything is good, but beyond this, I want to do something more. So these are last six chapters in which they start acquiring why am I doing this, what is my purpose, why am I here, why do I face all this situation, why I'm facing the Jarm, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. These type of questions to understand that he starts looking for knowledge. So that is part of Gyan Yoga, in which you are acquiring knowledge, what is reality, what I see, why am I facing this situation, and who is the one behind all this. Then I start thinking based on the knowledge which I have received, and I'm inquiring from others who are more qualified than me, and I need to understand why things are happening the way they are happening. And when I'm just going through what Shastras have to say, I start reading all the books and all those things. So slowly, this is another way of by how I advance in bhakti. And the final way, or bhakti yoga, which comes in between to the karma yoga and this jnana yoga, it's called bhakti yoga. Now you must wonder that okay, if it's most important, why it's coming in between? If somebody is very precious, you realize that even you are going and you find that there's some person, some royalty or some chief, just surrounded by people. So the thing which is most important is generally kept in the safe place. So bhakti is in between the two. So we are talking about unalloyed devotional service. Okay, most of us like it is a joke in India. Okay, why do suddenly people become devotees just before some important activity or examination? Because they know that whatever they have done without God's help, nothing is possible. But when we don't have that kind of motive, also we go to see God just for seeing God, just to be happy and just to feel happy and just see that okay, is God happy to feel about me? When we have that type of thing, we have nothing else but only God in mind. That's unalloyed devotion service. So Krishna says that this is the highest and easiest and fastest path to reach Krishna. And those who are actually inclined to go in these lines, they are getting rid of illusion or Maya, which is not the reality. They are not getting caught up by the packaging, but they go for the core material, the core gift. So it talks about love, devotion, and surrender to God. Basically, start seeing God through prayers. When you are talking, okay, you say Mahamantra. First time, okay, it is good in any case. But when you start seeing, okay, this is the way I am connecting with God, you see the difference in that. So this slowly you start getting into the meditation and anything, everything, but you actually start thinking about God all the time, or Krishna all the time. And you realize that this is a person who is basically like my loving parent, who's just not visible but exists there. When you start thinking, then our conscious start increasing, improving. So when we have that type of consciousness and thought process, when Krishna says, okay, this person wants to be with me, and that's what Bhagavad Gita says, that that person actually goes to Krishna. So what does Bhagavad Gita talk about? There are five topics. Ishwar or Supreme God, and the living entity like us, the souls. Then we are performing activities. Where are we performing those activities? That's the nature or the platform in which we are in. What activities are we doing? They are called karma. So, Super Soul, Ishwar, Jeev, Prakriti, and Karma. And when are we actually doing? What time we are doing? That eternal time is Kal. Kal also refers to death. And why is it? Because everything that is born is sure to die. So when we talk about Ishwar, we are talking supreme controller or the absolute truth. Now, some people say like as sure as death. That means everything else can be wrong, but death is definitely happening. So that's the absolute truth. That is also form of God only. Then we are the Jeev or the souls. We are called conditioned living entity. Why is it? Because we are getting attached, attracted, or repelled by what is happening around us. Then Prakriti. What is Prakriti? There are two types. When we are talking about elements of nature, earth, water, fire, air, ether, and then other subtle aspects, mind, intelligence, ego, they all belong to Lord's inferior material energy. And they cannot act on their own unless there is a living thing which has a soul inside it, and that is the superior energy. So within Prakriti, we have two energies, lower energy and higher energy. And that time basically in which everything how it is being controlled. And then what do we do under this time span with our lives? These are the five things which are being discussed in Bhagavad Gita. And we are about consciousness. Again, it's a very subtle thing. Like when we are talking, let's say you have two servants, and you find that there's a person running away from your house, and you are not sure the way he's running is suspicious. You know that this person has taken something. So you say, uh, "Don't stop, let go." So the person who doesn't want to do anything will say, "Okay, don't." He's saying, "No, stop, let go." Other person says, "Don't stop, let him, don't let him go." That's the way you're doing. So basically, the same thing can be interpreted in two different manners. So when we are talking about this, we have got two types of consciousness: contaminated, which we have ulterior motives, though we pretend that we are doing things. Like you realize typically in any warlike situation, always the person who dying in the battlefront is given some noble mission, and the person who is behind is actually enjoying. He does not even bother. That's why most of the time they don't even have. That's why they are not even called Dharmiyat. Because the person who is sitting behind generally has a contaminated consciousness. Oh, I am the boss. I know everything. Everything has to happen for me. So most of the wars that happen is basically for somebody's personal enjoyment at the cost of others. But when we talk pure consciousness, we are not talking about between me and others. We are talking about we stop identifying ourselves with the body in the first place. That basically is the soul which is given this body, and how best I can use this body to achieve the purpose of life. And basically, I'm a small soul, which is small part of a big particle, which you call God or super soul. It's something like this, an ocean of God. I'm just a drop of that. So I am part of that ocean only. And then we actually start acting lovingly. That is the pure consciousness. Now, we have got 8.4 billion species of life forms, starting from right from small bacteria right up to the biggest things. You can say, okay, biggest animal, you can say elephant, biggest aquatic animal, blue whale, everything. But all of them have one single soul, with only different forms. And of all these, only human being is held accountable for its actions. Or when you say about karma, karma happens only to us. If I try to kill someone or hurt someone, I'll be the one who will be getting reactions. But the same way, a dog or a tiger or anybody just goes and kills somebody, they won't get any reaction because this responsibility is given only to human beings because they can think. We are having similar traits with animals and other elements of nature, but we have something super consciousness given by God Himself. So that's why only karmic action is coming to us only. So our life aim is to understand why do we exist and how do we come out of this material existence. We must understand who is my birth giver and how I go back to my birth giver Godhead, which is not in this material world but in the spiritual sky. So Bhagavad Gita basically tells us how to clean our consciousness and come out of this karma. We are not being told that you sit to go to Himalayas or in some sit in auspicious place and just focus on that. No, but whatever you are doing, you have to do thinking of Krishna all the time. That is as good as sannyas. And basically, we increase our bhakti, and bhakti is that purified activity. So this is the importance given only to human form. A cat or dog will not realize this. A parrot may just ape it. A monkey will just give similar gestures, but without understanding why they are doing. But that why is understood only by us. So Krishna says that beyond all this material world you are thinking, there is supreme abode of mind, which is not even to a sun or moon, because sun also you realize that right now the sun is rising, so you see some light. But if there's a lunar eclipse day, then and there's no sun, suddenly you find everything is dark. It's not happening in Vishnu in the place or Lord Krishna's place. And those who can understand Krishna as himself, they do only by devotional service. And the person who does such a devotional service, only he is qualified to enter the kingdom of God. And how do we reach that supreme goal? So the Krishna says, okay, easy for or simple for simple. It's something like this that if you are always thinking of Krishna, we are becoming devotees, serving Krishna, worshipping Krishna, and offering whatever we do only for Krishna, then we'll go to Krishna without fail. And this is Krishna's promise to us because he is telling this to Arjun. And he says that I may break my promise to others, but if I'm telling this to my devotee and my devotee says, then I have to agree to that. You might realize there was one scene in Mahabharata in which Bhishma Pitama is hurting Krishna and Arjun both. And he's telling Arjun, please fight, your teacher is hurting both of us. And then he refuses. So Krishna had promised that he will not pick up any weapons. But when he finds that the attack are becoming more and more severe, then he realizes, no, enough. I cannot tolerate this. He says, Arjun, I have told you, but since you are not listening, he picks up this chariot's wheel to go and kill Bhishma because he knows that he can easily kill Bhishma. Now, Bhishma wanted here also taken a vow that I'll make sure that Krishna takes a weapon. And Arjun was supposed to fight, but he is not fighting. So Krishna, on one sense, he is breaking his vow because his Bhishma is also his devotee. He has vowed that I'll make sure that Krishna is picking some weapon. So he's fulfilled that promise. But to protect Krishna, he has taken a weapon. And you cannot say by any imagination that wheel is a weapon. But using that action, he satisfies all of them. So whosoever is devotee, Krishna is taking care of that. And Krishna also says that Sarva Dharma Paritajasya, Mam ekam sharanam vraja, aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayasmi ma shucha. Basically, whatever sort of religion or whatever practices you have, just leave all that and just surrender. Okay, just think of Krishna all the time, and I'll deliver from all sinful reactions, and do not fear. In this picture, you will realize that Krishna is in the top form. We were always in that spiritual platform, but we fell down. And as we fell down, we started developing all these activities, starting from what I don't have, I want to have that. That gives envy. Then I'm trying to have everything that should come to me. That's lust. Why is it happening? Because of ignorance. And when my lust is not being satisfied, I get angry. And even if it's happening, I'm having greed. I want to have more. Even if I have something, I'm not satisfied with that. I want more. And then I want to have people to respect me. Then if they start respecting, then I develop pride. And then I have attachment. I want more and more. When we realize that these are all anarthas or bad things which are within me, then we start thinking about God, and then we start accepting spiritual master, and then we study Veda, then we start doing austerities, then we start controlling our senses, then we get this spiritual knowledge, and finally back to God, to Godhead. Now, if you realize that if we are just surrendering, so we don't have to go through this chain or such long processes. It may happen in within one lifetime or it may take many lifetimes. But if you are thinking about Krishna all the time, then we let go of many steps. That's Krishna's promise. And Krishna says, like Antakale chamam eva smaram muktev kalevaram yah prayati sam madbhavam yat nasti ati atrasmaya samshaya. We are preparing for the examination, but what we write in the examination hall decides our success. So whatever we have done in our lifetimes, I may have impressed everybody. Okay, I am good, I am devotee, I am doing this, I pretend to be do all that. But at the last moment, if I am thinking of Krishna, then I have whatever I have done is forgiven, and I go back to Godhead. That's a success in examination. Like whatever you have done, at the end of the day, if you are not able to take name of Krishna, then the examination is not successful. That means you might have to come back again. We are talking about this picture in which an elephant, he was a learned king earlier in previous lifetime, and he forgot, and he was actually cursed. That was again another pastime. So he came here, and then he was enjoying his life as a dull animal, as an elephant, and then a crocodile caught his leg. So then, but he remembered from because of the previous lives in his examination that he had prepared for something. So he remembered there's somebody who can take care of me, and he started. He did not even remember Krishna or Vishnu. He just remembered there's somebody. To that somebody who's divine, he started offering prayers, and finally, with great pain of thousands years of war, he was feeling very weak, and he knew about to die. And then he gave this lotus flower, and immediately Lord Vishnu came, and he blessed both of them. So both of them got their own karmas, and then he went to Vishnu Lok. Elephant went to Vishnu Lok, and he went to sorry, who he was a another yaksha, so he went back to his place. So Krishna, basically, if you remember about Krishna at the time, life becomes successful. Now comes the question: is Bhagavad Gita relevant? Because it's it's very easy, but is it relevant in today's context? Because even Shri Prabhupada had said that whose time for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his teachings when we are in war, Second World War. That time also his guru had told Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that no, Bhakti is too important, it cannot wait for this thing. So when there is a war within ourselves, within our situations, within our nation, within our organization where so many people are being fired, or any part of the world, doesn't stop. Bhagavad Gita is relevant for all of us. What we are talking, Bhagavad Gita talks about the selfless duty. What you do without any emotional attachment. So when you do that, obviously, then you are focused on doing your duty correctly and cleanly. And when you don't play favorites and you continue doing what you are supposed to do, that is the time when you are actually become more and more balanced. You don't remain affected by success or failure. Okay, I tried my best. Let's see what happens, what Krishna has to give. And that is yoga. and then you're focusing on present, what happens? Okay, I have my regrets of past, but can I change anything about it? No. I have my worries about future. Oh, what will I do and also? But the thing is that how am I utilizing my present? Because that's the only thing that's in my hands. That's why it is present. So when I'm focusing on my current responsibilities, then I don't think about future. So I'm doing my duty, whatever it is. I'm trying to serve God because I don't know whether I'll live for tomorrow also or not. But if I'm doing what is right, that's what Bhagavad Gita talks about. And ethical choices. Please understand one thing, most of our sorrows come because we want to have something which we don't appreciate, we want something which we don't have, which others have, and we would like to get it by hook or by crook. No, I'll do whatever I want to get, what is others is that's mine. If I'm able to walk, I'm not looking at lame person, as my father used to say, but I'm looking at a person looking at a bicycle or car. Why he has that? So basically that's not ethical. I should look what is given to me and what best I can do with that. And even if you talk about this, riches of people, you talk about this. Now there's a war going on, and you realize that conclusion is almost one-sided, but still people are putting more and more money. And if you go deeper, you realize that they have some ulterior motive. The minute war gets over, we'll be claiming our rights on the minerals because this place is very mineral rich. That's a thought process. So that will not give inner peace. So unless we have peace, we control our mind, intellect, and ego, will not be able to get rid of these restless desires. So Bhagavad Gita is basically saying that focus on yourself, don't focus on others. Others you do out of mercy, but if you are not good, how can you focus on others? So improve yourself, live ethically, do only what's the right thing, be God's devotee, serve God, you get inner peace, eternal happiness. When you have that type of thing, then you realize that most of the problems which you are facing in modern day life, we won't be facing that. So there are some of the questions which comes. Basically, is it relevant? Why are we talking again and again? Just because this temple is supposed to talk about Bhagavad Gita, we do that. You'll go to some mosque, they'll be talking about Quran. You go to Gurdwara, they'll be talking about Guru Granth Sahib. Or you go to church, they'll talk about Bible. But what is the purpose behind that? They are all talking about duty, devotional service to God, and how do you manage life challenges? If you have to go to a place of worship, you are compromising on something else, but that's helping you only. And we are helping others, and you are finding balance. So the modern struggles of life are automatically taken care of. And basically, Bhagavad Gita is gives a sort of framework. How do we live our lives? How do we do action without actually getting them changed with our thoughts? How we serve God, and how we control our mind. Basically, these are the things which life meaningful. Because as the richest of the person, if it's not a devotee, you'll not think about Bill Gates or anything, but you'll think, okay, Steve Jobs was a person who still remembers, though he was also a very rich person. But once a week, he would go to temple, ISKCON temple, and then he'll eat and he would say, yeah, that was one my life of happiness. I would get one good meal at least in 1 week. That is, people will still remember. Little bit action also is highlighted by many others. So basically, when we are performing our duties selflessly, without thinking about results, and leaving everything to Krishna, that indicates we are spiritually also disciplined. And when we start following Krishna's guidance, we read in the Bhagavad Gita, we start seeing different meanings. Okay, I'm feeling very disturbed. What this verse has to say? Then we start finding meaning in our lives. We are not always expecting rewards. Basically, when you are giving examination, you can't say that I'll be succeeding. You can fail also because of many reasons. Then we control our senses, let go of our false ego. And what is false ego basically? I am this body. Okay, I'm a Brahmin. I'm coming from India. I'm coming from a holy place. Badrinath. What is the big deal here? Is it reflecting any of my action? And I must enjoy. I have done this. I have done so much pious credits in previous life. If I do that, I can of course. In my bank balance, I just withdraw all the cash. What happens when there's no cash? No more me in any case. So when we get out this false ego, that's where we perfect our lives. So at this stage, I leave you to think about it. And if there's any question or any comments, thank you for your time.
Just one question.
Yes, please.
There's one question.
Yeah. Any question?
I have one question.
Yes, bro.
Thank you very much for this nice question. So I have a question of understanding, like here you talk about supreme soul and soul. So
Yeah.
can a soul become supreme by like understanding himself and becoming more conscious? Like we read in some literature, the God is within us. Like we don't recognize Him because we are inundated by these worldly things. But when we become more conscious, can we become like recognize Lord and become superhuman? Or
Now, in everybody's body there is soul, which is the heart, and in everybody's body is super soul. So when we understand our position, we realize basically, let me put it in very simpler terms. You're saying from teacher can I become, from student can I become teacher? We are not talking about that. In this life, you acquire material qualifications, then you can become teacher from other school inferior to you. But you cannot become your teacher's teacher. Okay. Likewise, super soul is there to guide us. Why are we here? Because we had some material desires, we wanted to enjoy, we wanted to challenge the authority of God, and that is the reason we are here in this body, trapped in all these surroundings and entrapments. So when we have that consciousness that okay, is first of all, most of us don't even know that we are not this body. If there's an accident, oh my hand got hurt. We don't say okay, this body's hand got hurt. We are still identifying with the body. So when we are having such ignorance in us, it's very difficult. But as we realize that when we climb up the ladder, when we slowly start getting deeper within ourselves, then we start realizing we are soul, and that super soul or the Paramatma is guiding us. And when you like Arjun is a super warrior, he is actually Nar from Narnarayan Rishi, but at the same time he is asking Krishna to guide him. So our position is that of Arjun. We can never become Krishna, but under Krishna's guidance, we can go back to Krishna, which is the ultimate objective. Does it answer your question?
yeah, I get it. Like in some concepts, everything is same, but some people have it recognized, but some people are not recognized. Like, so I get your point. Like,
It's not
we reach to that
about
point.
it's not about recognition. It's something like this. God is ocean, and we are one drop of that ocean. Drop will never become the ocean, but when the drop becomes clean, it will become that pure ocean, part of that pure, which is part of the pure ocean only. But then it will be the same in the constitution position as ocean. So it becomes at the same level, cleanliness.
It merged. It doesn't.
Okay. I think I'm getting a hint that that will be the last question. Am I right?
Yeah,
Or is there some
we can have questions then later. If you want to have questions to Prabhu, then after this, you can ask later on this in this program. But now we have to finish because Arati will start.
Thank you.
But then, thank you very much. His Grace Sri Govinda Prabhu ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. Gauranga ki jai. So now we will start the Arati ceremony.